Have you ever needed to ask your boss something by email, but weren't sure how to phrase it without sounding demanding? Or maybe you've written an email to a client making a request and it came across as pushy, or even worse, weak. Hi, I'm Thomas. The problem isn't what you're asking for, it's how you're asking. And today, we're going to look at the exact language patterns that make requests sound polite but professional, confident but not aggressive. By the end of this video, you'll know how to ask for what you need without damaging relationships. Let's get into it. In business, you're always making requests, asking your manager for deadline extensions, requesting information from colleagues, negotiating terms with clients, asking vendors for better pricing. It's always something. But here's the thing, the same request can get completely different responses depending on how you phrase it. Let's compare these two approaches. I need this by tomorrow. This sounds like an order. It makes people uncomfortable and not want to cooperate with you. Would it be possible to have this by tomorrow? This is the same request, but now it's respectful. It builds goodwill and makes the person want to work with you. The key is finding a balance between politeness and confidence. Too polite sounds weak, too direct sounds rude. Today, we're going to look at how to find that balance. Professional requests have three parts. Let's break them down. The first part is the context. Before you ask for something, explain why you need it. This makes your request reasonable and not random. Sentences like these: we're approaching the project deadline. To ensure we deliver the highest quality, given the recent changes in the scope, this gets the reader ready to understand your request is legitimate. And then part two is the request itself. This part can be tricky. You need to be clear about what you want, but use language that softens the demand. Instead of send me the report, use softer language. And we'll look at some examples of that in the next slide. Then we want to end with the justification. It shows how your request benefits everyone or explains the positive outcome. Sentences like these are good. This would ensure we have time for thorough quality checks. This will help us deliver a more comprehensive solution. This would allow us to address all stakeholder concerns. These make the person want to fulfill your request. And it's pretty easy. Just remember the three parts: the context, request, and that justification. It's like putting a picture in a frame. It looks so much better. Now let's look at a few phrases that make requests sound polite and professional. Could you is a gentle, indirect way to make requests. Could you send me the report by Thursday? Would it be possible to shows respect for the other person's time and their constraints. So something like, would it be possible to extend the deadline by 1 week? And we have, I was wondering if. And that invites discussion. It's not so much demanding compliance. People are a lot happier that way. A sentence like, I was wondering if you might have time to review this draft. We can also use, would you be able to? And this gives the person space to decline if they really don't have the time or can't help you. Would you be able to share the client's feedback? Notice all these use question forms, include modal verbs like could, would, or might, and sound respectful, but are still really direct. These phrases are a solid foundation for polite requests. When you're writing emails for negotiation or writing proposals, conditional language is going to be your best friend. It shows flexibility and invites collaboration instead of creating conflict. If we, would you be open to? This offers a trade or a compromise. If we could offer faster delivery, would you be open to a price adjustment? And what if we invites creative problem solving? We like creative problem solving. What if we restructured the payment terms to accommodate both budgets? Would you consider presents an option while respecting the other person's authority? Would you consider a phased approach to this implementation? And I understand your concern. Validates their perspective before offering an alternative. I understand your concern about the timeline. How about we prioritize the features first? Notice how all these phrases acknowledge the other person's position. They propose solutions and don't make demands. And they keep the conversation collaborative. This is especially useful when somebody says no the first time. Instead of giving up, you can try to reframe your request with a conditional. Hopefully, they'll say yes the second time. Let's look at how all this works in a real email. This is a request for sales data. In the introduction, Alex sets the context by saying, I'm finalizing the Q3 report for our board presentation next week and need the updated sales data to complete the analysis. This explains why the request matters and why he's emailing. Sarah now understands the urgency and the importance. Notice the softened language for the request, too. Would you be able to? Plus a specific deadline. This really increases the chances that the person will say yes to this request. And then there's the justification. This will help us meet the board's Friday deadline and ensure we present accurate, comprehensive results. And that shows how helping you benefits the bigger picture. Then the closing, I look forward to receiving the figures. It politely reminds Miss Jones what Alex wants from her. This email really works because it provides clear background, uses polite conditional language, specifies an exact deadline, explains the broader impact, shows appreciation, and it maintains a professional tone throughout. And that's really important. Miss Jones is much more likely to respond positively to this than a blunt, send me the sales data. Here are a few phrasal verbs that really help make your request sound more natural and professional in English. Follow up on means to check on progress. I wanted to follow up on my request about the budget approval. Get back to is to respond or provide information. Could you get back to me with your thoughts on the proposal? Look into means to investigate or research. Would you be able to look into the missing client invoices? Work out can mean to find a solution together. Let's work out a timeline that works for both teams. And touch base is to make contact or check in. Can we touch base next week to discuss the project? Using these can really make you sound more fluent and natural when you write business emails. Let's look at some common mistakes people make when requesting things. The first is being too vague. Don't say, can you send that thing we talked about? Be more specific. Could you send the Q3 budget spreadsheet we discussed on Monday? The next mistake's over apologizing. You don't want to say, I'm so sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. I apologize for asking. Instead, we could just write, could you help me with this when you have a moment? One please or thank you is enough. Too much apologizing, it makes you sound insecure. Using negative language is another common mistake. Instead of, you probably won't be able to do this, but why don't we try something like, would you be able to help with this? We want to frame the request positively and confidently. If we say no before we even ask, do you think the person's going to say yes? And the last mistake we're going to look at is forgetting to follow up. You always want to close the loop. If somebody helps you, send them a quick thank you email. If they can't help, acknowledge their response professionally. Thanks for letting me know. I'll reach out to the finance team instead. And let's review how to make polite professional requests. Use the three-part formula: the context, request, and the justification. And choose conditional language if you can. Could you? Would it be possible? I was wondering. And remember, practice makes perfect. Review your emails before sending them. Incorporate these phrasal verbs too, and it'll really help to refine your style over time. Next time you need to ask for something at work, use this framework and see how great the results are. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more business English lessons. New business English lessons every Wednesday. In the next video, we'll look at how to give negative feedback without sounding harsh. You definitely don't want to miss that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.